Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Guerilla Cricket South Africa on One World Sports Radio. We are ready to go for the first ball of the second test between the West Indies and South Africa. Aiden Markram and Dean Algar are at the crease. The Windies winning the toss at about 25 minutes ago, and they've decided they will bowl first this time. Kemar Roach to open the bowling. Best of 6 for 48 he's got, and 6-5 wicket hauls. We're ready for the umpires to signal the start of play. Welcome, and thanks for listening wherever you are in the world. How are you, Tim?
All good, all good. Looking forward to this test match. I'm quite surprised, well not surprised, but I'm quite pleased that the changes that the West Indies have made. They've gone in. They're gonna try and be aggressive, which is good to see.
Dean Algar facing the first ball by Kemar Roach, wide outside off stump, prodigious swing away from Dean Algar, left alone through to almost second slip for a wide. So I haven't had time to install the jingles palette yet, so we'll see if we can get you some jingles during this test match and bring that back as well as things slowly start to creep back to normal, certainly in most of the developed world. Kemar Roach in again to Dean Algar. This one is a better line, just outside off stump, and moves away again from Dean Algar, and he lets it go through to the keeper for no run.
Just a reminder that you can tweet us, GU at Guerilla, GUERILLASA, Guerilla SA, at Guerilla SA, with all your predictions and your opinions, anything you want to say, and we'll read them out throughout the broadcast.
Yes, please let us know where are you listening from and what are you doing while you're listening. This one again outside off stump by Kemar Roach, just a little bit tighter on off stump, left alone by Algar for no run. Some nice movement here off the pitch for Kemar Roach. Good seam position.
Yes, I thought he was easily the best bowler in the first test. Really was.
Oh, yes.
On the money from ball one. Even with West Indies being so poor overall, I thought he did really well.
He comes in again, and this one is swinging through the air nicely and just straightens past Dean Algar for another dot ball. And 3 slips in the gully in for Roach, bowling to Dean Algar. Yeah, so he's on the money.
Just before our broadcast, a lot is said about our South African batting over the last 2 years. And this is a small sample. In this calendar year, Markram averages 54 and Algar 46. So there is a base there from South Africa to start off well. We can start off well. We can let the less experienced guys come in and do well. But that's a good base for South Africa to have 2 openers doing well in this calendar year.
Oh yes, and hopefully Dean can improve on his performance in the first innings of the first test. So we see a replay of that wicket, and this one again. Oh, Dean almost goes chasing after that one, full and wide outside off stump, but he leaves it at the last second, and it goes through to the keeper for another dot ball. And I think there's one more ball to go because of the wide starting us off this morning. Well, this evening in South Africa, this afternoon, and morning there in St. Lucia, where it stopped raining about an hour or so before we eventually started play. So good to see that we've got some cricket today as Kemar Roach comes around the wicket again, and a much better line from Kemar Roach. Almost tempts Dean to play that shot there, but leaves it once again at the last moment through to the keeper for no run. End of the first over, 1 without loss, and no score for either batsman, that one being the first delivery that was wide.
Lovely piece of bowling there by
Yeah, but apparently he's still injured.
Hey? Sorry?
Oh no, I'm saying I would like to have seen Bavuma bat, but apparently he's still injured.
Yeah, he's done a new injury. He injured his finger
Oh,
in
you gotta be
training.
kidding.
So he started
Ach,
with a left hip problem, the first test,
yeah, yeah.
training, and injured his finger.
Ach nee man, that's
Oh, gosh.
okay. Well, I am happy to hear that he wasn't left out of the side, but unfortunately for him, as we see Shannon Gabriel bowling now to the right-handed Markram. Gabriel's also got 3 slips and a gully in, and this one is very nice, tight line on off stump, and Markram throws his hands in the air, and that almost clipped his off stump as it came back off the wicket. Shannon Gabriel with a nice big smile on his face. That was so close. Oh, it hit Markram on the thigh pad, going almost over middle and leg there, pitching outside off. So nice movement from him coming into Markram as well. Good leave there, Tim.
Yeah, good leave. Just about. We'll give it to him there.
Yeah, so Gabriel comes in again. This time he gets some bat on it, does Markram. It goes out to backward point, and they don't take a single. Wisely so. Score is still 1 without loss.
West Indies definitely missed him in the last test.
Yeah.
He's a real, really good bowler, is Gabriel. Pitches it in back of a leg, tries to trouble you with the shortest delivery. But it's his aggressive approach that they missed desperately. Having to play 2 spinners was not ideal in the first test for West Indies.
Yes, indeed. It didn't work out well for them then. Shannon Gabriel in again. Markram slashes at this one a little bit wide, and it's caught at backward point, it looks like, as the Windies celebrate their first wicket of this test match. And that is Aiden Markram, gone off the 3rd delivery from Shannon Gabriel. He is absolutely livid with himself. He went chasing a wide one, slashed at it, big booming drive, outside off stump, straight to the man at backward point. Let's just see where exactly that fielder was. Yep, it's driven straight to backward point, where Austin Chase takes a catch just about half a step to his right. Markram is gone for a duck.
And Markram should be disappointed. That was a long hop. It was asking to be hit before. He had plenty of time to judge where he wanted to hit it, and hit it to the only man within that vicinity. Very poor cricket all around, really. Wasn't a good ball, and certainly wasn't a good shot.
No, it was a horrible shot, and Keegan Peterson comes to the wicket now to replace Markram, and he's going to be facing Shannon Gabriel. So it's a bit windy there, some moisture in the air, as I mentioned. So good outcome there for the Windies, but as you said, that was a wide, short ball that Markram should have left alone. Definitely not the time to be playing those kind of booming drives way outside off stump. It was almost a wide, so yeah, he's going to be very disappointed. And Mpo here told us on the WhatsApp group that the West Indies cricketers are wearing black armbands for the captain, Craig Brathwaite's grandmother, who passed away this morning. So condolences to his family and her friends. And Gabriel in again. This one is left alone very nicely by Keegan Peterson. Wide outside off stump. No danger there. And no run. 1 for 1 is the score. Have we got some tweets yet?
No tweets. It's certainly a pressure situation there for Keegan, but he did look pretty good in the first innings, the first test, before he got out. There is one. There's one tweet here. It's from Chris. Not the worst thing that Bavuma is out. Would have felt harsh to drop Peterson over Werner after 1 innings. Yeah, I tend to agree. I tend to agree. Trevor will come back when he's fit and ready.
Yeah, and he's a bit more careful during practice. And Shannon Gabriel full outside off stump, driven by Keegan Peterson out to the man standing at a shortish mid off, but there is no chance of a catch this time to the captain Craig Brathwaite there, and no run. Good looking shot there by. Yes.
Oh, sorry, I was just saying Keegan looked really good at the first test when he was at the crease before he got out to a really good delivery. He looked like he knows his game very well.
Yeah, as we see his first class career there, 40.8 average and a best of over 220 not out. Shannon Gabriel has still got the man there at backward point. There's 3 slips in a gully. Keegan Peterson's last shot there looked really solid coming forward. They've got a square leg in as well. This one is left well alone. Very wisely by Keegan Peterson. End of the second over, 1-1 is the score. So nice chance here for Keegan to get some time at the crease once again. And as you said, he looked really good until he got an excellent delivery that got his wicket. So that's what you want to see from the players coming through from our first class system into Test cricket. Just give a good account of themselves, and if it takes an awesome delivery to get rid of you, then you're sending the right signals to the selectors. Unlike Aidan Markram this morning, so he's not going to be pleased with that. This one by Roach into Dean Algar is tight on off stump, coming into Dean a little bit and surprised by the bounce, and it squirts out to the offside for no run.
You can see what Roach is trying to do. Roach is trying to get Algar to come forward and play outside that fourth stump line. It's asking him to push at the ball. It's a nice line there, Roach.
Yeah, much better line than the first over, I thought there, coming onto middle and moving away. This one again beats the outside edge of Dean Algar through to the keeper for no run. So Roach is managing to come around the wicket here. He's right-handed to the left-hander, and he's managing to get the ball to straighten with this line. So we see a replay here. That ball starts its line onto off stump, forcing the batsman to play a shot, moves late through the air, beats the outside edge. Beautiful delivery by Kemar Roach.
Lovely bowling.
He comes in again around the wicket, and this time it's wider and left alone by Algar, no run. Yeah, so with that, the line leaving his hand, coming onto the stumps, Dean Algar has no choice. He's got to offer some kind of shot. And that's where Roach is going to get the outside edge.
Yeah.
No, he's...
the slips are going to be in action at some stage.
Yeah, if he keeps this up, and this one again a bit fuller, also wide, left alone, but nice movement, nice light movement from Kemar Roach. He'll be happy with that, and so will the West Indies, now that they have full pace bowlers in their side. And I'd like to see how
they just look a lot more balanced with the pace attack.
Yeah, and then Roston Chase to do the rest. Another one outside off stump, full, left alone by Algar, no run. So he's throwing the ball wide now. Is Kemar Roach trying to get Dean to chase after the wide ones? But I don't think doesn't look like Dean is in the mood to chase those wide ones. He had half a thought about chasing one in the first over, but left it alone in the end. Still 3 slips in a gully. Roach in again around the wicket, full, and this time shot is offered, but there's no contact with the bat. Whoa, Dean Algar living dangerously. That was so close to the edge.
I was just about to say, the previous balls were a little bit too short. They were right line, but they were a little bit too short. which gave Elgar the time to leave them. That previous ball was just perfect. Dean got sucked in because it was an extra half a foot fuller, and he had felt like he had to drive and play the shot. That was the difference between that delivery and the previous ones.
No, you're quite right there. So all three batsmen so far for South Africa not scoring a run. Markram being the one that lost his wicket while doing that. Only faced 3 balls. Keegan Peterson will carry on facing Shannon Gabriel. And this time a nice looking drive by Peterson off the front foot through extra cover. Is the ball going to make it to the fence? No, it seems like the outfield hasn't quickened at all. The Darren Sammy Stadium need a lawnmower, I think. And they take 3 runs there, 4 for 1.
Lovely shot. We saw that similar shot in the first test. It drove through the cover like that. Lovely cover drive.
Yes, good timing. Gets his front foot nicely in line. Beautiful looking cover drive there through extra cover for 3 runs. So that'll bring Dean Elgar on strike against Shannon Gabriel for the first time today and in this test match. So let's see what Gabriel does here. It looks like he's going to be over the wicket to the left-hander. He slips in gully, backward point. So exact same field, square leg in. This one is on middle and leg. Appeal for LBW. And the umpire says no. I think that must have pitched outside leg.
And also over the top, because it's a new ball, that was going over the top as well. But it was a lovely delivery.
Yeah, no, it squared up Dean a little bit, trying to defend his stumps there, and an appeal, but with that line, with that angle coming over the wicket, the right-hander, Shannon Gabriel to the left-hander, there's no way that didn't pitch outside leg. Let's see, now he's going to carry on over the wicket. Elgar has opened up his stance a little bit with his right foot, the front foot outside leg stump a little bit, on leg stump. Oh, and this one goes across the left-hander, and again at the last moment Elgar decides to leave, no run. 4 for 1 is the score. And wind pushing nicely through there, and are they going off? Yes, there's covers coming on, and the players are leaving the field for rain. So that cloud moved in quite quickly. It was a bit gloomy at the start, but the covers are now coming on, and everybody else is everybody in whites leaving the field. The umpires as well. 4 for 1 is the score, and that is after 3.3 overs. Yeah.
And it's pretty much all the covers. It's not just the one that covers the wicket. I think there's four covers that are coming on. So might be a delay in terms of the get back on.
Yeah. So after getting about
this auto. That's a shame. I was enjoying that.
Yeah, so after getting about 40 minutes of extra time on air, it looks like today I'm going to be shortchanged by the weather. After we had no cricket in the final of the Test Match Series, or the Championship, Test Match Championship, I believe it's called. Yeah. All right. So let's have a chat to our producer. Simon, what do you think? What we're going to do here? We're going to switch over to archives, and we'll be back on air as soon as there's some cricket, I would assume. Meanwhile, do check us out on YouTube, One World Sports Radio on YouTube. We've got some podcasts there about the cricket, some archived stuff about how to play fantasy league, and what kind of sportswear is acceptable on a date when you take somebody out on a date, and what your choice of sportswear says about you. So that one I enjoyed quite a lot. It was one of the earlier ones, so that's quite a ways down the rabbit hole there in our YouTube list. Check us out there. Please follow us there, and on Facebook, One World Sports Radio, on Twitter at 1WSR, and also at GUERILLASA. Both those accounts, obviously the Guerilla Cricket South Africa one focusing on cricket, the One World Sports Radio. We're looking to expand our offering a little bit on our platform. And do let us know if you want us to come and commentate on your match that you're playing. We've done some club cricket games along with the guys from Pitch Vision, which was quite exciting and a lot of fun. And some school cricket. I think those night series games or something like that we covered as well. So do get in touch and join us again soon. Still no word from our producer. So Tim, anything else you have to add?
I'm just trying to breathe some positivity and say that the wind is picking up. You see the flags waving quite quickly in the wind. So maybe this rain will just blow over relatively quickly, and we'll be able to get on the park not too soon, in the relatively soon future. I also noticed that the umpire has stayed on the ground. He hasn't walked off. So I don't know what his thoughts are. He hasn't walked off the ground yet.
Yeah, so we'll have to just hang around a few more minutes and see what's going to happen. But the covers are still firmly on. And I think that if we do have a resumption of play, it'll probably be at least another 20, 25 minutes or 30 minutes or so, maybe 40, around there. Let's see. So one of the disadvantages, of course, of this distributed studio is that we have no idea where our producer is at the moment. So we're trying to get hold of Simon. Yeah, looks like I'm back. So Simon, if you're listening, we've got no cricket to talk about at the moment, no live cricket at least. So I was quite...
Sorry.
Yeah. Now, I was listening to Dean Algar speaking at the toss, and he was saying that the South Africans thought that was a near perfect performance. Certainly not that good from Markram this morning. Keegan Peterson looking good, Algar looking his usual stable self. But having said that, Tim, what do you think the South Africans could have improved on from the first test? What would you like to see in this test that you didn't see in the first one?
I would like to see a middle order contribute. So the youngsters, the guys that come in, even Peterson, Carver Brainers, show that they are ready for the next level. So when their time comes, when they get a proper run rather than just a shot in because of an injury, that they are ready to go to that next level. We know the quality of both those guys. We've seen them doing a lot in the domestic front. I would like to see them score runs in this test match. I hope they get the chance to do it.
Yeah, they certainly have the opportunity now. With Markram out the way, there's no choice really for the lower middle order to step up and produce some runs for us. I agree with that. Our fielding was good. I couldn't really bring to mind something that bothered me about that side of things. And then, of course, our bowlers were magnificent, especially in the first innings. Okay, so our producer says we can sign off. We will leave you And we'll be back as soon as there's some cricket. So stay in touch with us via Twitter, and we'll be back shortly. Thank you very much, Tim. Your last word.
Let's hopefully that the delay is not too long, and then we can get back on the path. And because it was an interesting 20 minutes or so. Catch you soon.
Thank you very much for listening. Cheerio. Okay, it looks like we are back, and we have had a passing shower at the Darren Sammy Stadium in St. Lucia. Keegan Peterson at the non-strikers end, and Dean Algar will be facing the first ball after the rain delay from Shannon Gabriel, the man back into the team who took the wicket of Aidan Markram with a silly shot straight to the man, well, almost straight to the man at backward point. Wind is still pushing steadily across Algar's body there as he takes guard now, facing Gabriel, who's over the wicket, and this one outside off stump, and played a late sort of drive shot there. Did Algar, and this time the ball reaches the boundary for the first boundary of the South African innings in the second test. 8-1 is the score, and Dean Algar is finally off the mark. Hello, Simon. Yeah, so it was a sort of a late drive there by Dean Algar, and it went flying past the man at gully through to the point boundary, or backward point boundary for welcome 4 for South Africa.
That was quick. That was a quick comeback, wasn't it? After the rain.
Yes, indeed. You were spot on there, Tim, with the wind pushing that cloud through quite quickly. Algar again on leg stump, and this one is deflected past the diving keeper. Another 4 runs, and it's a leg bye. But we'll take that. Thank you very much. 12-1. And one delivery to go in the 4th over from Shannon Gabriel, his second of the test match. So he's not shy to attack that leg stump. Maybe he's got it in his head that Algar is too far across there, trying to go for that leg stump. Or do you think that was a missed line there?
Probably a combination of two. Probably just trying too hard. I think his role is to bowl quickly and get as many and cause as many problems as possible. So there will be times when he doesn't get it quite right, and I go down the leg side like that.
And this one is defended on middle and off by Algar, out to the offside. No run, end of the 4th over. 12-1 is the score. So the Windies talked about keeping the score under 3 runs and over, and they, thanks to Shannon Gabriel, have now not managed to do that. But I'm sure they'll pull it back with Roach and Gabriel looking really disciplined, really good, except for those 2 deliveries, or that one delivery actually, because the one that Algar played was quite a good shot. 4 of 17 for Algar, 3 of 4 for Peterson.
Yeah, it's good to see Shannon Gabriel fit and not have any injury problems. He's a very good bowler.
And this one from Kemar Roach to Keegan Peterson is on off stump, shortish, backward of a length, and there's no run, just defended by Peterson into the backward point area onto the ground. This one coming in nicely, and that was off the thigh pad of Keegan Peterson for no run there. Start of the 5th over. 12-1 is the score, and Peterson is on 3. Pirate Bachar, welcome back. Nice of you to tweet us in. Afternoon, Old Salts. He says, and this one by Keegan Peterson is dropped at 3rd slip. Kemar Roach found the outside edge. 3rd slip drops it, and Keegan Peterson. That was almost similar to the one that dismissed him in the first test, right? That was also, he was caught in the slips, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was a bit shorter. That one was a bit shorter, but it was equally a good ball. That should have been caught. Blackwood.
Yeah.
A bit casual there actually. The 3rd slip was going quickly, but he should have caught it.
And this one again by Keegan Peterson into the slip cordon. Looked like Gully diving forward there. They take a single, as it we'll see from the replay. But
give a shot.
Yeah, Roach is looking really dangerous here. Yeah, so Keegan Peterson just defended that one down into the ground, right in front of Gully. diving forward, couldn't get to it. Oh, that is beautiful bowling by Roach.
Yeah, he's in a real rhythm at the moment, which could be problematic for the South Africans.
He goes now around the wicket to Dean Elgar, and just as we saw at the start of the innings, he's trying to tempt Dean with that wide outside off-stump delivery, moving away from the left-hander, but there's no run.
I think,
Kino Roach.
I think he's put an extra slip in for Elgar.
Yep.
I think.
No.
I just saw a clips of it. I think he's got a fourth slip, but it might be a galley.
No, I think you're right. There is a fourth slip in. We'll confirm that now. Roach in again on Midland leg. This one is defended out to the onside by Dean Elgar, and they're going to run at least 2, maybe 3. No, just the 2. And so the score clips on to 15 for 1. 1 ball to go in the 5th over from Kimo Roach, looking really, really dangerous here for the West Indies. They are licking their lips, and the guys in the slip cordon better wake up, because I think, as you mentioned, they're going to be in business as long as these 2 guys are bowling. Kimo Roach in again to Elgar, left alone outside off stump through to the keeper. No run. End of the over, 15 for 1 after 5.
Yeah, I tried a quick look there. It is 4 slips. That's what happens when you bowl while all batting problems. You start to get the freedom that you ask for. You know, that's a sort of 3rd slip, 4th slip area. It's a trouble area for Elgar. It's an area where he gets lots of runs, but it's also an area where he gets out quite a lot.
Yeah, so he's going to have to note that 4th slip coming in. He probably has already, being Dean Elgar. And so only 10 runs off the bat for South Africa, 5 extras so far. Shannon Gabriel is going to continue to Keegan Petersen. And this time they've got 3 slips and a gully in for Keegan Petersen. Backward point, mid-off, in line with the non-striker's end, a square leg. Quite close, about 2 pitch widths away. Keegan Petersen leaves this one nicely outside off stump. No danger there, no run. So Gabriel is on 1 for 7. Let me just check that for you quickly here. Yes, 7 runs conceded with 1 maiden and the wicket of Aidan Markram. Kimo Roach, meanwhile, 3 overs, 1 maiden, only 4 runs, 16 dot balls. Excellent bowling from these 2 opening bowlers for the West Indies. And Gabriel will come in again. He starts his run up now, right arm over the wicket to the right-handed Keegan Petersen. 3 slips in. Oh, this one jags back past the off stump, left by Keegan Petersen, but caught by the keeper. No wicket, no run. But a very dangerous looking ball there by Shannon Gabriel, and that is what we talked about during the first test with the debutant bowler whose name escapes me for the West Indies, who couldn't manage. Yeah, that's right. Seals couldn't manage to get that ball coming back in, and Shannon Gabriel showing them how it's done there.
He's the leading wicket taker at this ground, Gabriel, so he knows how to bowl here.
No, he's showing his experience and his skill, Shannon Gabriel, along with Kimo Roach. This one on off stump, just outside, driven straight back to the non-striker's end by Keegan Petersen, and there's no run. Didn't quite time that drive, but solidly behind it. So this is a proper test now for Keegan Petersen and for Dean Elgar once again. So these 2 Windies bowlers would have had about a 10-minute break, just enough to maybe recharge the batteries a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how long these spells are going to be, because they both look extremely dangerous to face. So for South Africa's sake, I hope that Brathwaite likes to experiment. But at the moment, it looks like a wicket could be coming from any ball. This one is left alone again by Keegan Petersen. This time the ball doesn't misbehave off the pitch and there's no run through to the keeper. 15 for 1 is still the score.
That's an interesting point you make, because I think they probably would have had 4 over spells if the rain had not come. And that rain may have just given them just an extra 10-minute break that they would have wanted to go and bowl an extra over or two. So you might find Gabriel and Roach might bowl an over or two more than they would have if the rain had not come down.
Oh, yes. Brathwaite looks calm. The captain there, Craig Brathwaite, he's probably very happy with these 2 bowlers right now. Keegan Petersen facing Shannon Gabriel over the wicket now. This one is driven again by Keegan Petersen, and it is past the man at mid-off, but he collects it, sends it in. There's a bit of an appeal for a run-out, but I think that Dean Algar made it to the non-strikers end that time. So 2 runs there, 17 for 1, 2 runs to Petersen, and a good shot.
Yes, good rotational strike, good shot. He didn't push at the ball, he just let the ball come to him and let the pace of Gabriel make the bat come off the bat. So he didn't try and chase it, which is what was important in that delivery.
Yeah, so we've got a mid-on, just about 4 or 5 meters behind the non-striker or past the non-striker. We've got a square leg in, the backward point gully and 3 slips, and I'm not sure who else is out on the boundary. Gabriel in again. This one is flashed at by Keegan Petersen. Half-hearted late cut there. Misses everything through to the keeper. End of the 6th over, 17 for 1. Algar is on 6 of 20, and Keegan Petersen also 6 of 12. This is a proper test now for these 2, hey?
Yes, unless Mohammed tweets in and says, very bowling friendly conditions, you guys, put in your most destructive bowling partnership to start the game. Yeah, I think that's pretty much spot on. And Chip also
Yes.
great contrast between bat and ball, precise line and length with the ball, and soft hands with the bat, find gaps.
And it is Seals replacing Roach. So it is that that one was wide outside leg. That's going to be a wide, surely. Yes, it's a wide delivery, a bye to boot as well for South Africa. So Jaden Seals, just a bye, not a wide.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, of course, this is Test cricket. So one bye run taken there by Algar and Petersen as Seals starts off with a wide one outside leg stump. So that puts Keegan Petersen on strike now to the right-handed young bowler from the West Indies, very promising fast bowler. He comes over the wicket now to Keegan Petersen, and whoa, that one hoops away off the pitch to the keeper for no run. Full outside off. 18 for 1 is the score.
It's a continuation of what he did in the first test. Bowling good line, get the ball to go away from the batsman quite religiously. He did that all the way through the first test match.
Yeah, so Brathwaite not sticking with his dangerous-looking opening partnership, replacing the dangerous-looking Roach with the dangerous-looking Keegan Seals. No, sorry, that's not his name. This one is outside off stump through to the keeper, no run. So Seals a little bit loose, but I'm sure he'll find his rhythm soon. Maybe Brathwaite just thinking, let's give the other guys a chance. If those 2 old hands can make the ball talk as they've done, let's see what the other guys can do here for him. So Bonner and Cornwall replaced by Kyron Powell and Shannon Gabriel. Seals over the wicket on leg stump just outside as Peterson dabs this one down to backward square leg for a single. 19 for 1 is the score.
I think he'll be happy that he's the non-strikers, and Keegan, you can just seize up the situation, see exactly what Seals is doing with the ball before he faces him again. I think he quite enjoy a little break.
Yeah, Jaden Seals now right arm. He is coming over the wicket to Dean Elgar. This one sprayed well wide, full and properly wide there by Seals. Is that one going to be signalled a wide? No, I don't think so. That was past the popping crease on the offside of the left-handed Dean Elgar for no run. Just double check that.
Blowing, a South African flag, I showed on the screen. Blowing quite hard still.
And Seals now around the wicket to Dean Elgar. This one is Fuller on just outside off stump line. Dean drives at this one. It squirts out to point, and they take 2 runs there to the South African score, which is now 21 for 1. That's a much better line by Jaden Seals, but looked all right there by Elgar. Sort of a, just on a good length, just a little bit fuller. End of the over, 21 for 1, 7 overs gone.
Yeah, he seems much happier.
And we've got the.
He seems much happier
yes?
to tuck Elgar up body right the wicket.
And Tim, Wahid says we must read his tweet because it's funny. So let's see how funny it is.
It hasn't come in yet.
Okay.
Wahid, there it is. I apologize to Wahid. Elgar and Markham are like Harry Potter and Lord Voldemort. But neither can live while the other one survives.
Yes, that is funny. And Seppo, Seppo also sent in some tweets. Yeah.
Seppo says, I'm glad to see that Peterson and Elgar are keen to hustle between the wickets. Yes.
There's an appeal for a court down leg side here. Nothing from the umpire. This one was by Shannon Gabriel over the wicket to the right-handed Peterson, pitched on middle and leg, went past the leg of Keegan Peterson, and there's no review. The time is gone. There was a appeal from the wicketkeeper and the bowler. Nobody else seemed to be interested. Quite close to the bat, but those ones are always a bit of an unlucky dismissal from the batsman's point of view and very fortunate from the bowler's point of view.
We don't need another wicket with a bad ball, please. We already have one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit disappointing when you lose your wicket to a bad delivery. Aiden Markram was properly miffed with himself there. 21 for 1, Gabriel to Peterson, over the wicket, short and over leg stump, ducked underneath it by Peterson, no run, through to the keeper.
Keegan is too short for that delivery.
Yeah, no, you short batsmen are so used to facing short deliveries, it's seldom that they do get troubled by it. It tends to be the taller guys that struggle to judge whether to pull or to hook or to just defend, because if you're a shorter guy, you face short stuff all your life,
and it's much easier to get underneath it.
3 slips and a gully, backward point, what looks now to be extra cover. square leg and mid on. Keegan Peterson facing Gabriel defender down into the ground to point, and there's no run. So we're watching a replay of that one that went down the leg side, and it was close to the bat, but no edge, nothing on that one. So good decision by the umpire, wise not to review it by the West Indies. Keegan Peterson facing Shannon Gabriel for what I think is their fourth delivery, yes. And so they replaced Roach and not Shannon Gabriel, which is weird. Maybe they thought that Seals could be a good foil for Roach and maybe put some, just to capitalize on the pressure there. Gabriel to Peterson on leg stump, just defended out to square leg for no run.
Well, interestingly, the one that Peterson is struggling against is Gabriel, and the one that Elgar is struggling against is Roach. So, they both got the role that they would rather not face. Yes, it's a difficult one because Gabriel is the one with a history of injury problems. Roach isn't. Roach is very consistent and able to bowl long spells. Gabriel is not. So I'm a bit surprised that Gabriel is still bowling.
Maybe Brathwaite is thinking, well, if Gabriel breaks down, let him break down now and hopefully recover in time for some more cricket down the road in this test match. He goes into Keegan Peterson, and this one beats the outside edge of Keegan Peterson, who goes for the forward defensive shot there. And there's no run through to the keeper. 21 for 1 is still the score. Bit of a scrambled scene, but Peterson just tried to play the forward defensive there, but I couldn't see much movement there. That one is too wide outside off stump, Keegan. Leave that alone, please. Don't play at those.
It's that corridor of uncertainty, especially when you are relatively new to the crease.
And new to test cricket. Okay, so we've got about 10 minutes left in our stint with the revised playing times here. 12:28 will be lunch, local time. So about 11 minutes to go to the drinks break, I would assume. This one outside off stump left alone. End of the over, 21 for 1. That is now 8 overs gone. Well left there by Peterson this time. So run rate is 2.68, and we probably would be lucky if we get 90 overs in. I'm not sure what the forecast looks like for the rest of the day, but we've already had about a 10-minute break, which would mean that at least 2 overs will be lost there. And the Windies only having the one spinner, so they might also struggle to keep up with the over rate. And 6 extras so far.
Yeah, if they're desperate, Brathwaite can bowl a few overs. They're really desperate.
Yeah, that's true. And Seals continues around the wicket to Dean Elgar. This one moving into the left-hander, defended by Elgar very well behind that one. No run. So Seals, with the movement that he gets away from the right-hander, is moving the ball into Dean Elgar. And let's see if he's worked on his movement the other way. So break, getting the ball to move to his right, to the bowler's right, which would be away from the left-handed batsman. And he comes in again, Jayden Seals, to Dean Elgar down the leg side and just sort of tried to guide it past the keeper, but the ball beats the batsman, but not the keeper, and there's no run.
I just had a quick search because I remember Brathwaite's action was told he can't bowl. He's got to correct his action a couple of years ago. But as far as I can see, he is still allowed to bowl if they need him.
So we'll have a commentary change after this over, if I'm not mistaken. Seals into Algar, defends this one out to square leg for no run. So Seals here trying to attack the stumps, make the batsman play, which is always a good place to start. If you're a bowler, that is. 21 for 1 is still the score. So it's not too bad. It's sort of a normal test-based scoring rate from South Africa at the moment. Dean Algar facing Seals again. This one again coming into Dean Algar, and he guides it past his legs through to fine leg, or fine leg runs around to backward square leg. They take a single, and Peterson will be on strike.
South Africa won't mind how many runs they get. It's just as long as these two are there at lunch. If these two are there at lunch, in these conditions, they'll take it.
Okay, we have Chris and Ken ready to take over. How are you guys?
Yeah, very well, thanks to you. Good that at least one test isn't being entirely interfered with by rain, even if we lost it briefly.
Indeed. And now we see Seals to Peterson, who leaves this one well alone, outside off stump, very wide, no run. And that is the signal from the umpire for the short one. And I'll leave you guys to it. Enjoy, and I'll be listening.
Cool. I've just seen the fourth delivery of that Seals over, so I have to catch up a little bit. But I found a half interesting stat that's relevant to Ken. Because Ken, of course, your name starts with a K. And there's 4 South African players in this 11 whose names start with a K. And that's 4 of only 6 South African players since readmission. So right now, 67% of post-readmission players with names starting with K are in the side. It's of course Maharaj, Peterson, Rabada, and Verena that are there. Would you be able to guess the other post-isolation K names? Just 2 of them.
Well, Kevin Peterson should have been one, but
I guess if you count players like that, then Keaton Jennings counts just as much.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, I'll have to apply my mind for that. Thanks, Chris. That's quite a big in-swinging Yorker straight into my foot first ball up.
I can give you an easier question, because there's 4 players pre-isolation. If you just guess their first names, it's easy because they all have the same first name.
Well, Ken Funston.
Yeah.
Ken
and then, yeah.
Kenny McKenzie, I guess.
Not
Kenny
McKenzie, sorry. Yeah,
Kenny
got
Watson.
Ken. Oh, then I might be missing one. But
well, he would have been unofficial.
Right.
He would have been doing the 80s. Yeah.
And then one of them's a bit of a cheat because Kenneth was his real first name, but he was Colin Bland professionally.
Yes,
but
C.K. Bland, yes, that's true, yeah. Sorry,
and
K.C. Bland. Yes.
And then, Ken Walter is the last one of the pre-isolation players. And then post-isolation, it's Kepler Wessels and Kyle Abbott.
Of course, yes. Yeah.
So suddenly, a lot more prolific K names, 4 in 111.
Yes, I feel like I've kind of let the K's down by not getting there myself.
And then you'd be, if you make the side now, you'd be the only post-isolation K, as we see Kemar Roach is going to continue with his 4th over. He's going to be coming in right arm around the wicket into the left-handed Dean Algar. This one swings away beautifully, but no reason to play at that. Algar leaves it alone outside his off stump, and it goes through to Joshua De Silva for a dot.
It would be a very, very sad day indeed for South African cricket if I got anywhere near the Proteas team.
Maybe you just haven't found your niche yet. A lot of players pick up leg spin, or especially spin bowling later in their career after being seamers. Maybe you just need to see what it does when it fizzes out the hand. You might have a gift.
Yeah, not sure where they're going to hide me in the field, though, Chris.
The second one, similar delivery, but closer to that off stump of Dean Elgar. This time it looks like he almost thinks of a shot, and it's a last minute leap as he puts a lot of effort into getting his bat out of the way. But in the end, it's just through to Joshua De Silva again. South Africa 26 for 1. I was listening to Ish Sodhi on the Great Cricketer podcast talking about the fact that he thinks a lot of cricketers do take up spin too late, and everyone should have a little bit of a go, because you don't want to find out in your late 30s or later that you could have been a great spinner and you never used it. This one again seems away. Elgar tries to play a shot at this one, but it beats his outside edge. No run.
It's been a bit like Elgar's been facing a spinner this morning, the way the ball's been jagging away outside his off stump. It's been a struggle for the Proteas captain this morning, certainly.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that in Kemar Roach's first over in the first test as well, where he was just getting prolific movement away from the left hand, and he ended up picking Elgar on that occasion. This one, Yorker length just outside off stump. Elgar digs it out and it squirts into the offside for another dot. Yeah, it looks like the number one priority at the moment is just survival for the new permanent South African captain.
Yeah, and there's no doubt the West Indies are targeting that area wide of off stump where he does tend to push at the deliveries.
He's played under a few different captains, and he's got the lowest average under his own captaincy. Obviously, this is only his second test as permanent captain, but he filled in a couple of times when Faf du Plessis was injured. This one played to point again for a dot, so 5 dots in the over. And I think he averages 13 as captain with a high score of 54.
Well, the Proteas, after losing Aiden Markram early, will certainly want him will want Elgar to dig in here and get some good runs on the board.
Final delivery of Roach's fourth over. Again, swinging and seaming away. Elgar just defends this one into the offside. No run. The last time Elgar and Markram had 2 single-figure partnerships in a row, they brought in Peter Malan to be the new opening partner. I don't think we'll see anything that severe based on this, but it is frustrating. It looks like a strong opening partnership on paper, and it feels like one, but then it doesn't always come up.
I think Markram might have got injured that game that Peter Malan came into the team. But it's obviously a tough job opening the batting here in St. Lucia. There's a lot of movement up front with the new ball, and the seam is certainly enjoying conditions.
Yeah, obviously the big changes this time the West Indies they've changed the plan of attack and they've gone to bowl first. Thick outside edge. Jaden Seals into Keegan Peterson. He edges it into the slips, and that's the end of him. Unfortunately, a second innings in Test cricket, he doesn't quite get off to a flying start, and he's gone for 7. South Africa 26 for 2.
Some late swing there from Jaden Seals away from the right-hander, and it meant that he was always reaching for that delivery, playing a really awkward drive away from himself, away from the pads, and almost inevitable that he would nick it through to the slips. A very decent bit of bowling there by Jaden Seals, but Peterson will be disappointed that he chased after that one.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that you would be able to expect it, but just looking at him walk off the field, he's bitterly disappointed with that.
Yeah, I like
26 he looked. Yeah.
He looked pretty confident while he was out there. I liked the way he was getting forward and presenting the full face of the bat, but perhaps a bit of overconfidence there, trying to drive a ball that really wasn't there for the shot.
26 for 2, and now we don't even have the reassuring fact that the Windies were out for 97 in the first innings. This is the first innings, and some genuine pressure now on the South African captain and a man who it's Rassie van der Dussen coming out as the number 4. Not a massive surprise. Someone with a little bit of pressure on his shoulders, but very inexperienced middle order all in all. And he's probably the man who's proven himself the most of that middle order. Yeah,
I think it's not a bad thing. that South Africa are batting first here in this game, because it does kind of even things out a bit from what happened in the first game, where the West Indies had to bat first of their own choice, of course, which was a decision which was criticised. But a good challenge here for South Africa, for them to see if they can handle these testing conditions up front.
It's not often.
Perhaps you're being a bit harsh to say he's under pressure. He's scored 550s in 9 Test matches. So
I guess it's the same pressure. It's the same pressure that he was on in the limited overs formats for a while. The fact that there's just that monkey of 100 on his back. But other than that, he has performed for South Africa in the whites as well. Just on the West Indies winning the toss, and in both matches, it's not often you almost get a complete do of it. It's the same side, almost identical 11s. Well, they're playing against an identical 11, and they get to fix one of the first mistakes that they made in the first test. Was this first delivery to Rassie van der Dus, and Jaden Seals right arm over, and it just seems away from van der Dus, and he lets it go.
I'm not 100% sure it was a mistake to bat first, I must say. I think that is batted poorly. And the big thing about this pitch is going to be the possibility of indentations, because apparently it is a bit soft. And batting last with the ball going up and down off those indentations could be a really, really tough task.
Right. Seals, the delivery, big swing from him as well. So Roach is seaming it away from the left-handers. Seals is seaming it away from the right-handers. A lot of movement in St. Lucia at the moment.
St. Lucia, known as a really swing-friendly venue. Of course, it's an island, and it's stuck out actually quite close to the Atlantic Ocean. So there are apparently trade winds that continually blow across the island, and that seems to be helping swing bowling.
This time, Seals almost seems to go for a bouncer, but it doesn't go much higher than shoulder height, and it's quite wide of under distance, so he's happy to leave it alone. We definitely saw images of the winds earlier where we saw palm trees with all their leaves pointing in the same direction.
Yeah, and it's a funny sort of pitch as we just get a close-up of it. It's quite brown and dusty looking. You don't see a lot of green on it, but certainly the ball seams around on the surface.
At least in my limited experience of watching cricket in the West Indies, that seems to be what most of the pitches look like. You don't often see green seamers there. This one's swinging away well, and it's a full delivery to van der Dus, and he defends it into the covers, and it's another dot. So Seals following up the wicket with 4 dots, with 1 ball left in his third over.
Yeah, but most of those pitches play like they look. I mean, they are pretty low and slow in the Caribbean. This one really has quite surprising bounce and a bit of pace to it. And as I said, all that movement on offer for the paceman.
And this time, probably just because they have Shannon Gabriel available, they've opted to not really have a frontline spinner. They've still got Rustin Chase there who can spin a bit, but Rakeem Cornwall's out for the extra seamer. And it is a wicket maiden as the final delivery swings away from Rassie van der Dus, and he leaves it alone. After 11 overs, South Africa are 26 for 2. Olga's on 9. Rassie van der Dus still not off the mark.
Yeah, I think it's a better balanced West Indies attack for this test match with 3 proper pace bowlers. You know, I know Jason Holder's a quality seamer, but he's, not much above 130 kilometers per hour these days. And Kyle May is also sort of a part-time medium pacer.
Yeah, quite a few all-rounders. I guess, Rustin Chase there as an all-rounder. Rakeem Cornwall would have been if he was still in the side. So slight change in that balance as well. Kemar Roach is going to continue. And this time a beautiful drive by Dean Elgar, which is probably going to run all the way to the boundary. No, it's still the same old slow boundaries. They look like they've been cut slightly shorter than the first test, but it's still slowed it down enough that it's just 3 runs in the end of that first delivery. Trying to tire out the South African batsman with that slow outfield.
It really is a case of Dean Elgar's strength being his weakness as well, because he played that beautifully, as you say. It's middle of the bat, but again, he was reaching quite a bit away from himself outside the off stump, and there's no doubt that the West Indies are going to keep bowling in that area to see if they can find an edge. And as the TV commentator said earlier, it does seem to be the only real area where Dean Elgar gets out fairly regularly.
Yeah, I think that almost that exact same shot to a ball that seems just a tiny bit more, and it's flying to the slip sort of gully. Kemar Roach is going over the over the wickets into Rassie van der Dis, and this one swings in slightly. The swing not quite as prolific as what he was getting to the left-hander, and it's left alone through to the wicket-keeper for another dot. Rassie van der Dis, and happy to bide his time. He's not in any rush to get off the mark. He's 0 off 6. You also cover rugby, Ken. Did you have a chance to watch any of the baby Springboks game against Uruguay this afternoon?
I didn't, unfortunately. Friday's a bit of a busy day writing-wise with weekend newspapers and things. What happened there?
This delivery's in on the stumps of Rassie van der Dis and defended to mid-on, and there's no run. It's hard to know exactly what to expect because under-20 sides are going to be very different from the open men's national sides. But I expected South Africa to score a lot of points against Uruguay because it is Uruguay. But in the end, I think it was 29-8 or thereabouts that the South Africans won by. It's hard to know exactly what to put that down to. But I did expect more of a bloodbath. Lovely swinging delivery from Kemar Roach. Just misses that outside, that off stump of Rassie van der Dis, and he gets through for the forward defense, but it's nowhere near it in the end. That looks dangerous. I'm a little bit frightened of Kemar Roach with this relatively new ball.
That was a phenomenal delivery because it definitely angled in from the arm and then nipped away off the seam. And thank goodness Rassie van der Dis played just far enough inside the line of that ball not to get the edge.
Kemar Roach, and again, right arm over. Similar delivery, but this one strays a little bit too far down leg as Rassie plays it off his pads, and they'll go through for 2 in the end, I imagine. They think about a third, but no, they're happy with 2, so Rassie will face the final delivery of that over, and he's off the mark. 2 runs off 9 deliveries. South Africa 31 for 2. That's the under-20s World Cup in Paul Roos, at Paul Roos. And looking through the sides, not a lot of players haven't had to travel very far to get there. A lot of Paul boys and a lot of Paul Roos boys.
Always the powerhouses of schoolboy rugby in South Africa. And I suppose 29-8 is a reasonably good winning margin, but not a bloodbath, as you said.
Final delivery in swinging again. Rassie van der Dis leaves it alone through to Joshua De Silva. No run.
And very nice to see some spectators in the ground at the Darren Sammy International Cricket Stadium. I think 400 had been allowed by the authorities as long as they have proof of being vaccinated twice. And the few that they're showing on TV aren't particularly enthralled by the cricket so far on their phones, or they're wandering around looking quite bored.
Yeah, I think St. Lucia is an area where COVID seems to be mostly under control. They were very cautious not having any tickets for the first game, although I don't know what their vaccination program's like at the moment, but I know that they've had very few new cases or deaths in the last few weeks.
Yeah, one imagines that St. Lucia...
Sorry, Jaden Seals bowling right arm over into the left-handed Elgar. Swung in quite a lot, but Elgar managed to just flick it to the man at short mid-wicket, and it's a dot.
It's swinging late, this Deeks ball, which really makes it tough for the batsman. That was a very solid defensive shot there by Dean Elgar. He did well there.
Yeah, these bowlers definitely know what they're doing with it as well. Getting as much out of it as I can imagine one would be able to. Jaden Seals coming in again, right arm over to left-handed Elgar. Very similar deliveries where it looks like it's from the path of where he lets it go, looks like it's going to go past off. It ends up pitching on middle and straightening, so it hits him on middle as well. And again, he defended into the onside.
Yeah, just on St. Lucia, obviously, as a tropical island, I imagine tourism is a major part of their economy. So let's hope they can get that back up on its feet soon as well.
Jaden Seals' third delivery here. Still right arm over this one. a little bit fuller, a little bit wider into Dean Elgar, and he defends it to the man at mid-off. And that's another dot delivery. Just 3 deaths in the last month in St. Lucia. Obviously a smaller population than us, but a much better ratio there as well, I think.
Yeah, 3 deaths too many, obviously, but good to know that they are getting this terrible pandemic kind of under control there.
And I understand that the West Indian side is all vaccinated. I've heard mixed reports on the South African side as to whether they are or aren't. This one, again, defended into the onside by Dean Elgar. As he helps the fielder there, he defends it and then just flicks it to the fielder with his bat as well.
Yeah, I think it was brought up with the Proteas. They were asked whether they were all going to be vaccinated, like all our rugby players have been. And they kind of said they'll get back to us, and they haven't. So it's a good question what the vaccine status of the Proteas is at the moment.
Penultimate delivery of Jaden Seals' 4th over. Again, swinging in this one fuller. Dean Elgar drives it. It looks like they'll get through for at least 2. And in the end, it does actually run away to the boundary for 4. So first boundary in a little bit. Dean Elgar is now on 16, and South Africa 35 for 2.
That was a lovely shot by Dean Elgar. Really nice and compact. He played it a lot closer to his pads. Just a lovely little punch straight down the ground, and he'll be feeling a lot better after that shot.
It seems like I get all my information from podcasts, but the Great Cricketer podcast were interviewing Anrich Nortje and generally having a good time with him, but then they asked briefly about vaccinations, and clearly he was given a directive by Cricket South Africa, and he just said cricket only, and then they all had a bit of a laugh and carried on talking about cricket. Didn't really address any of the vaccination stuff. This last delivery just defended up the crease by Dean Elgar. So Jaden Seals has 1 for 8 in his 4, and South Africa 35 for 2. That's also where I found out Anrich Nortje has been playing indoor cricket for a long time, up until at least under 18s. He was still playing indoor cricket, as well as obviously normal outdoor cricket.
Sure, he must have, I imagine he'd be quite a handful in indoor cricket. And
yeah, mentioned being able to, that's how you learn to generate a lot of pace with a 5-step run up. And I think that sort of skill does help at least a little bit when you move to outdoor cricket. This delivery, it says Jaden Seals, but I think that's Kemar Roach continuing, and it is, in fact. Not nearly as much swing. This one just goes outside the off stump of Rassie van der Dussen. He's happy to leave it alone and then inspects his grip.
Speaking of the health of our players, very disappointing that Themba Bavuma couldn't make it into the 11 in this game, having got over his hip injury. He then suffered a finger injury, a dislocated finger, in catching practice a couple of days ago. So really rotten luck for the vice captain.
Oof. In swinging delivery from Kemar Roach into Rassie van der Dussen. It's feisty, dangerous bowling here from the West Indians. And Rassie van der Dussen survives this one at least, as it hits him on the pad, but it's doing a bit too much and strained down leg. He doesn't even appeal, but he understands that he's got Rassie van der Dussen under pressure there. Yeah, I did tweet about it earlier. This one, again, on the pads of Rassie van der Dussen, defended up the crease. I do feel sorry for Themba Bavuma, especially when it's 2 separate injuries like that. You think he's going to be ready. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that we do get to see both of those debutants from the last match get another go in this one, after they only got a single innings, obviously, in that first game. It would be a shame to see one of them out, and it probably would have been Kyle Verreynne out if Themba Bavuma was to come back in for this game. So it's nice to see at least a slightly extended run for the youngsters. Oof. Rassie van der Dussen in all sorts of trouble again, as this one's swinging in massively. It looked like it hit him right on the pads, but it might have been an inside edge. I'm watching on a very low resolution stream. We'll see the slow-mo here. But yeah, thick inside edge onto that front pad.
And we have a decent conspiracy theory on the go at the moment on the Guerilla SA Twitter account. Chepo Tayela asking, do you think the slow outfield was something they deliberately prepared for the contest? And Otto Simon very sensibly says he thinks probably has more to do with the type of grass in the outfield, just different conditions. So we await Chepo's comeback. I'm sure it'll be a good one.
Yeah, I'll try. I'd have to think about the reason one would actually do that. If you think that the opposition's better at scoring boundaries than you are, or if you're the team that's better at running between the wickets, maybe you'd be tempted to do that. But it's just... And also, if I watch more cricket at Groselay, I'd have a better idea of how it normally plays and how regularly it does play like this. Final delivery just outside the off stump for Rassie van der Dussen. He tries to get a bat on it, doesn't manage, and it's another dot ball. South Africa 35 for 2 after 14.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Chris. I think it's just bad for the game, really. I can't imagine either side particularly getting an advantage out of a slow outfield. You'd rather see batsmen get rewarded for their shots, I think, especially when batting is so difficult like it is on this pitch.
Yeah, it's slightly nostalgic. It's the very seen lots of all-run threes, and maybe at some stage an all-run four. It's almost like when the MCG had the boundaries all the way back, and you'd see the ball just dribble away and almost stop whilst you wait for the fielder to go get it, and the batsman huffing and puffing between the wickets. It also makes it more similar to the cricket that I'm used to playing, when, I mean, a slow outfield's the least of the worries. I've had to negotiate cinder blocks and the likes playing in Cape Town third league. Well, with the Cape UCT third team in that division, which I think is even below third division cricket there.
Yeah, I think the batsmen know they're in for hard work when they play here at St. Lucia.
One of the best things I've seen playing just league cricket in Cape Town is we had to ask a man to get off the outfield. He was just had a massive sword and was just practicing his sword moves in the outfield, and we had to say, "What are you doing? Get out of here!" And he went to the field next door to do that.
Who did you send to go and ask this?
No, I mean, we didn't get within 50 meters of him, didn't get close to him to ask him to move. You wanted to keep your distance and hope that he couldn't run too fast with what was a massive sword. It was he needed two hands to hold it. It looked like some sort of cosplay or costume piece rather than anything he would actually fight with.
How bizarre.
Can try look at what's going on elsewhere in the world. Obviously, the first day of the World Test Championship final has just been abandoned entirely. They do have an extra day there, so it can go up to. It would have been an extra day available, but I still think there's going to be a lot of rain throughout that test, and the most likely result will be a draw. And then the women's game has also obviously been delayed by rain, but it's. England women scored 396 for 9 declared, and then India scored 231, were asked to follow on, and are currently 83 for 1, with 5 test debutants in that Indian women's side. Not too surprising when they played their last test in 2014. And then 2 of their players have been playing test cricket longer than almost anyone, because Julan Goswami and Mitali Raj both made their test debuts all the way back in 2002, are still playing now. And if the test career spanning 19 years, 19 years for Mitali Raj, and just 11 tests in that time that she's been able to play. It's something I wouldn't mind seeing more of. It used to happen more often when women's cricket first became a big international thing. Tests were a regular part of it, and then they seem to fall out of favor more recently.
Yeah, I think it's a great pity. I mean, I wonder what the women's players actually think about it. It kind of smacks of the sort of attitude that, like in tennis, women's players only play 3 sets,
right?
Whereas the men play 5. It's almost like you females, so you can't handle the longer game.
Jason Holder's come into the attack for the first time. He's bowling right arm over into the left-handed Dean Elgar, and this one he's getting movement as well as he just beats that outside edge of Dean Elgar. The batsman and bowler acknowledge each other. A bit of a shrug from Elgar. I'm looking forward to this contest as well. I don't think the women's tennis players will complain about the 3-set matches, because that does mean they're able to participate in the doubles and the singles in the same tournament, which I think is a bit of a bonus, even if it's a slightly patronizing reason that they have to do it.
Yeah, good point, Chris. Yeah. It's, Holder could actually be more of a threat on this pitch, because Roach and Seals and Gabriel almost were getting too much movement with the ball, taking it well away from the edge, and Holder just getting just the right amount of movement. I mean, that first delivery to Dean Elgar missed the edge by millimeters.
And then the second one was just played off Dean Elgar's hips. It was a slightly shorter delivery. Again, listening, third delivery from Jason Holder, not very much movement at all, just an ordinary delivery that goes outside the off stump of Dean Elgar and is left alone. And Rakeem Cornwall, although he's not part of the playing 11, is on the field for someone at the moment, and he's on the field without a hat. So I don't think he anticipates being out there too long, or he's just laughing at this in Lucian's son.
It's a very interesting replacement fielder. I think
there we go.
For many years, we used to 12th man being, a young, sprightly, one of your better fielders that you have available to you.
Yeah,
Rakeem Cornwall is not quick and he's not sprightly.
But he's in at first slip, so he won't need to do either of those things. And I'm ready for him to be the super sub that takes a brilliant catch off an outside edge. Again, listening to a podcast, Joshua Da Silva said the bowler he struggled with the most in his career so far is Kyle Jamieson, and that's all an issue with height. You would have thought he'd had enough practice with that height playing in this West Indian side in the nets, as this one's just defended into the offside by Elgar, no run.
Yeah, that's an interesting comment. I guess it just shows you that awkward bounce from a good length is very difficult to handle no matter how much practice you get against it.
And I guess, although Jamison's the same height as Holder, he's probably got about an extra 10 k's of pace on him, which does make the world of difference. As the final delivery of Holder's first over is just a foolish delivery outside off through to Joshua Da Silva, no run. And he has a maiden to start. South Africa still 35 for 2.
And unfortunately, there's been no update on the outfield conspiracy theory.
Although I see Anis Mohammed saying yes. You're welcome to read those then. I won't do everything.
It's rather amusing. Anis Mohammed says, it's part of the conditions. That West Indian grass will slow anything down. Just ask Hirsch. Good one, Anis.
And Kemar Roach is going to continue. He's gone for 9 runs in his 6 overs, and despite looking very threatening, hasn't picked up a wicket just yet. I think it's one of the more famous historical South Africa versus West Indies videos going around of the Kemar Roach bowling to Jacques Kallis at the end of a test, which is basically already over, and he'd suddenly found some fire and was really aggressive towards Kallis as this one swings in towards Rassie van der Dis, and he gets a very thick outside edge. It squirts out to the third man region, and they go through for 2.
Yeah, that incident did rather baffle the Proteas at the time, because they were kind of wondering, well, where was this earlier? Where was this fire and enthusiasm and passion when the test match was still being hotly contested?
And then the other most famous one, at least that I've seen, is that Charles Langerveld hat-trick to finish off an ODI. So definitely the right bowling coach if he's able to replicate that in any of the South African bowlers. Kemar Roach, this one swings in massively to Rassie van der Dis, and he has him jumping around as it's defended out into the offside for a dot.
Yeah, well, so far the bowlers doing a great job in the first test here, really impressive disciplines, and plans and skills work that Charles Langenfeld has obviously been doing. And after this test match, of course, we go into white ball cricket and 5 T20 internationals where Charles Langenfeld's work will really be under the microscope.
Also have to thank the West Indians where they've given us very favourable times for those T20s to be on. They could have done it to suit their own audience. Instead, we sort of have 8 p.m. starts South African time, which is quite generous. This one doesn't swing nearly as much. And Rassie van der Ditsen leaves it alone through to the keeper, no run. I remember watching the
sort of
Women's World.
Sorry. Yeah. It'll be sort of mid-afternoon in the Caribbean then, won't it? So
yeah,
the games might be entirely day games.
3 p.m. or thereabouts in the local time, and then 8 p.m. here. I remember watching the Women's World T20 and doing commentary with it with Simon, and that was all sort of 2 a.m., 3 a.m. South African stuff where you really have to be passionate about it to wake up and watch that or stay awake and watch that. This one is another dot delivery from Kemal Roach, 3rd in a row.
Well, I think any cricket journalist, commentator on worth their salt needs to have done a Proteas tour to South Africa, but Proteas tour to Australia, but covering it from here, where you literally are up all night, going to bed at sort of 9 o'clock in the morning. It's a bit of a weird experience.
5th delivery, again in swinging, defended to the man at mid-on, and it's another dot ball.
And I will confess to a couple of times during rather slow sessions at 3 in the morning, you do tend to doze off a bit on the couch.
Yeah, I have the same thing with basketball now, where sometimes you have to figure out whether it's better to stay up or go to bed really early and try to wake up for it. If it's a 4 a.m. basketball game, obviously I wake up, but when it gets to sort of the Hoppers 1 or 2 a.m. start times, you don't really know which makes more sense to do, as this final delivery beats the outside edge of Rassie van der Ditsen, another dot. South Africa 37 for 2.
It must be really hard work being a basketball fan in South Africa, because all the games that are worth watching are on the middle of the night, aren't they? So you've got to really be a passionate fan of the sport.
Yeah, luckily the last few games for my team have been 4 a.m. starts, and they sort of last 2.5 hours. So you can wake up at 5 and watch the last hour and a half, which isn't too taxing. But yeah, every now and again it is that 2 a.m. start, and then sometimes you're happy just to watch the highlights unless it's an important game. Jason Holder is going to continue right arm over into the left-handed Dean Elgar. Oof, just beats that outside edge. His hands are up. Dean Elgar survives another one. He's just smiling to himself.
Our highlights package is actually a thing in basketball, though, because my only experience really of watching basketball live, it just seemed a case of dribble at the one end, basket, dribble the other end, basket, and just it just went on like that the whole contest. So give me the highlights packages that don't show all the baskets.
Yeah, I think they try to choose some of the slightly more remarkable ones. Turn 48 minutes of basketball into about 7 minutes of highlights.
And when you have to
defended. Sorry, where did you watch basketball, Ken?
In Pietermaritzburg, I had to cover it once or twice. There used to be quite a big professional basketball scene in Pietermaritzburg. But yeah, that 48 minutes of basketball takes about 2.5 hours to get through. It's worse than rugby.
Especially the last minute or so, if it's a tight game and they're just both sides are fouling on purpose and just free throw after free throw. This defended into the offside by Dean Elgar, and it's another dot ball. I think it's a sport that is growing in South Africa, but we're a long way off being competitive on the global scene.
I actually think it's quite disgraceful how South African basketball has been allowed to really just disappear, because I know 20 odd years ago it was already a rapidly growing sport. There are a lot of basketball fans in South Africa, and it's a great shame that we don't have any sort of organized, even semi-professional league for it.
This one just beats the outside edge of Dinelga. I think it's how it's going to become big, if it does. It's going to follow the same track as a lot of other South African sports, where it needs to be taken up in the schools, and that's where the high-level basketball comes from, and then maybe some clubs after that. But I think that's how South Africa produces most of their sports people, is just through school sports.
Well, I mean, I can remember even when I was at school, basketball was already quite big in certain schools. Were really well known for it. It seems that once they leave school, though, there's no real outlet for anyone to play basketball, as a career.
Right. Yeah, it definitely grew in the time that 5 years that I was at high school. More and more people were playing it, and I know that it's taken quite seriously at school now. But it sounds like it went through a lull at some stage in the early and mid 2000s. This one, again, just beats the outside edge of Dean Elgar. Another maiden from Jason Holder, 2 in a row. He hasn't conceded a run in his 12 deliveries. Dean Elgar looks happy that he's still out there. He's on 16. Rassie van der Dussen's on 4. South Africa, 37 for 2. I do look forward to this time that we have our first proper South African basketball player in the NBA. There's at least 2 half shots where I think Steve Nash was sort of the J.R.R. Tolkien of South African basketball, where he was born in South Africa to 2 English parents and then moved to Canada at the age of 3. And then Thabo Sefolosha has a South African father, but was born and raised in Switzerland, represents Switzerland, but has a very South African name.
Basketball, of course, was one of the things blamed for the decline of the great West Indies cricket teams of the 70s, 80s. I'm not so sure if that's fair. There's probably a lot of factors that
I don't think
went into that.
I don't think there's, at least I don't know of any West Indian. I know a couple of players from the Bahamas, but the Bahamas aren't really a big cricket team. They don't contribute to a lot of West Indian cricketers. Kemar Roach, second delivery, very full on Rassie van der Dussen's stumps, and he defends it to the man at mid-on.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that if you're a great athlete in the West Indies, then, well, most of the great athletes in the West Indies, cricket or sprinting seems to be the avenues that they pursue mostly.
Yeah, for such a small country, Jamaica produces some world-class sprinters. Oh, Rassie van der Dussen. This one, he tries to leave it alone. It swings in beautifully and clatters his stumps. He's gone for 4. Kemar roaches into the wickets. It was only a matter of time. He doesn't look surprised. He's just enjoying all the adulation, and he's got a stare on. Very good wicket, and it felt like it was coming. We saw quite a bit of that from the West Indian batsmen in the first test, the shouldering arms and losing the off stump, and our South Africans fall in the same way. Yeah, Kemar Roach, just no expression on his face as his teammates embrace him. South Africa find themselves now 37 for 3 after 17.3.
It was a phenomenal delivery. I mean, it came back an absolute mile from outside off stump. Rassie van der Dussen probably feels he had every right to leave it alone. And, Kemar Roach, if you bowl a ball like that, you really should be celebrating a bit more extravagantly like he did. Maybe he's just keeping cool. He's too cool to really show his emotions.
Yeah, it just seemed like a matter of time, though. He bowled a couple of deliveries that were very similar to that, and it seemed like the South Africans were lucky to survive them. That time, not quite the same, as Kyle Verreynne is going to be the new man in the crease. Again, a batsman just the same as Keegan Peterson playing his second match. Oh, I have to go have a look. I'm sure there's quite a few people, but players who played their first 2 matches at the same ground, where it's going to be true for Verreynne, Seals, and Peterson. And very generously, the host broadcasters are putting up his first-class stats, where he averages 55 and a bit rather than his test stats where he's just played the one game so far.
Yeah, Carl Verreynne, in domestic franchise cricket, known as one of the great fighters and scrappers. He's often at his best when the Cape Cobras are in a lot of trouble. So hopefully he can show the same temperament here for the Proteas, who are certainly in deep trouble at the moment.
Yeah, quite a challenge ahead of him. All the bowlers getting a lot of movement up the ball, and especially Kemar Roach, who splits 3 deliveries in this over to attack the youngster. He has 3 slips and a gully at the moment, and most of the other fielders are in pretty close as well in catching positions, or at least knowing that they can chase the ball and stop it from going to the boundary. This one swings in a lot. It's a slight miss-hit from Verreynne as he gets a very thick inside edge, which squirts the man at mid-on, and that's a dot.
Yeah, obviously nerves playing a part. Verreynne looks very twitchy at the crease, lots of little movements.
It can be effective. The 2 of the best test batsmen in the world, the 2 Australians, are unbelievably fidgety. And I think part of that's one of them models himself almost entirely on the other, as this one is swinging a bit too much, goes down leg. Verreynne plays it off his pads, doesn't manage to get a single as it just goes to the man at short mid-wicket, and that's a dot. So 5 deliveries so far, the 1 wicket and 4 dots. Possibly another wicket maiden on the way here.
Yeah, Kemar Roach, probably the best of the West Indies bowlers this morning.
It felt similar in the only South African innings of the first match, where he didn't quite get his rewards, but was moving it around monumentally as his final delivery. Defended very well by Carl Verreynne to the man at mid-on, and that is a wicket maiden. Kemar Roach, they cut away from him, but it looked like he was having a bit of a stare at the new batsman as well. He looks fired up. His teammates are enjoying seeing that. And South Africa slightly on the back foot here.
More than slightly, I think. Chris, I think the one West Indies bowler who has struggled a bit today, actually, Shannon Gabriel. Look, his figures are good. 4 overs, 2 man 1 for 9, but he was a bit wild and woolly on the ground where he enjoyed his greatest success as a test bowler.
Yeah, I'll have another look, but I think he has the most wickets of any bowler at Guerilla.
Yeah, and he's got the record figures for the venue. Took 13 wickets against Sri Lanka in 2018.
This one from Jason Holder is just on the hips of the left-handed Elgar. He plays it to Kieran Powell, who's at a short square leg, and that's a dot. So we have a nervous-looking Mark Boucher, but that seems to be his default expression over the last since he's taken over the coaching duties of this side. Camera people are quite rude in that they seem to cut to the coaches whenever the team's doing badly. They don't seem to support them when the team's doing well. This one just outside Elgar's off stump. He shoulders arms and it goes through to the wicketkeeper for no run. Yeah,
being a coach when the South African batsmen are out in the middle can't be the most pleasant of jobs. Really nothing you can do about it, and they've had their struggles in recent times.
Still no runs off Jason Holder's bowling. He's in his 3rd over, this 3rd delivery of his 3rd over. Dean Elgar at the last minute gets his bat out of the way as it goes probably just over his off stump. Again for a dot. He just looks like Dean Elgar has an expression like it's the funniest joke he's ever seen. The way that he's batting out there, he's smiling after every delivery, just laughing at the pitch, laughing at the movements, and the fact that he's been able to survive.
The more Elgar plays and misses, the more he seems to enjoy it. And also, when he gets hit on the body by a fast bowler, you also feel that feels he's doing his job.
This one just defended up the crease, will be picked up by the man at short mid-wicket, and it's another dot. Dean Elgar, there's enough cliches about him, but it is true that he seems to thrive when the chips are down and the South Africans are struggling a little bit. It's that stat that he's carried his bat for South Africa 3 times, I think, which is most of any international batsmen. Lawrence Rose done it twice, I think.
It shares the world record with Desmond Haynes.
Right.
Most times.
Penultimate delivery of Holder's third over, and finally, no run. In fact, it looked like there was a chance there. As it was thick outside edge to the man at gully. It looks like Craig Brathwaite. But yeah, no run as it's misfielded, and it's another dot.
Good diving save, in fact, and Holder applauding the fielder there because he understands. He doesn't want to let Elgar off the hook here, relieve the pressure. It's been wonderful bowling by Holder. He's just found the perfect line and the perfect length, and is really making life difficult for Dean Elgar.
And this one goes down leg. There's an appeal for a catch there by the wicketkeeper and the bowler. They think he might have got that to it, but it does. We're going to see if they review it. No. The way it was cut, Craig Brathwaite was actually preparing to receive the ball from Joshua De Silva, but his hands were prepped in a way that it looked like he was going to do a very performative tee. But in the end, he just receives the ball, and that's the end of the over. No review. South Africa and Dean Elgar survived 37 for 3. And yeah, Sheldon does have. He has 22 wickets at Groselay, which is the most of any bowler. Second on that list is Kemar Roach with 20.
Yeah, Jason Holder hasn't got a wicket yet in this innings, but he started with 3 maidens and doing a wonderful job, just piling on the pressure on the South African captain.
Yeah, Holder himself in his 4 matches at Groselay has taken just 5 wickets, which is fewer than Anrich Nortje and Kagiso Rabada.
The way he's bowling so far in this innings, though, you'd fancy him to add to that tally. And Dean Elgar will certainly be feeling under pressure now because he's got a rookie at the other end with him in Kyle Verreynne, and he'll know that you can't get out at this time and leave Verreynne in the middle there to fend for himself.
The first delivery of the Kemar Roach over was another dot. As we saw a replay of the final delivery of the previous over, and there was no bat, no fire, no anything, just nothing as it passed Dean Elgar. As this ball from Roach is in on the wickets of Kyle Verreynne, he just defends it to the man at mid-on, and that's another dot. So Verreynne's 0 of 5, Dean Elgar's on 16 of 58, South Africa 37 for 3. They're happy to bat slowly, and I'm happy that they're batting slowly and not being too brash. Because they found themselves 34 for 2 in the first match, but then managed to have that good partnership for the third wicket, got themselves to 113 before they lost their third. Now we're in a slightly worse position as this one's left alone by Kyle Verreynne in a very similar way to how Rassie van der Dussen left his final delivery alone, but it didn't swing quite enough to take out that off stump. So he's still there. No run since the wicket of Rassie.
No need for the South African batsmen at the moment to do anything else, but just stay at the crease. Really, they just need to bat through this really tough time at the moment.
Yeah, and hope that as the ball ages, it doesn't do quite as much. As Kyle Verreynne doesn't look that keen to defend one. He has a drive at this, but it just shoots to the man at point, and it's another dot delivery. Yeah, thick outside edge. I don't think that's where he meant to play it. Kemar Roach enjoying the competition. Sorry there.
I see on Twitter, Otto Simon is trying to get us to call Dean Elgar nuggety. No, Otto, we will resist the temptation, just like Dean Elgar should resist the temptation to play outside off stump.
Yeah, we can. If he gets to a certain number of runs and South Africa lose enough wickets, maybe I'll be tempted to bring that word out. But I try not to be too cliched when I'm out here. Kemar Roach for delivery, just another dot left alone by Kyle Verreynne. trying to think of other ways to describe it. Thesaurus.com has no synonyms for nuggety. I guess it's I don't know how much of a real word and how much of just a sporting word it is. One could describe him, if he stays a bit longer, it doesn't sound complimentary, but limpet. I think of limpets as nuggety. It's just stuck there, immovable. But he hasn't looked super immovable so far. There've been a couple of hard chances. So I'll wait for him to do a little bit more. And that's another maiden. So since the wicket, we've seen now 15 dot balls.
Yeah, I guess words like gritty and tenacious could apply to Dean Elgar. If he does get to limpet like in this innings, it would actually probably be a good thing for the Proteas. If someone can drop anchor and just hold up the innings there.
We see more visuals of these houses in St. Lucia. Yeah, I guess we don't get to see the entirety of the island, but the houses near the stadium, I haven't seen one that looks like it has fewer than 3 bedrooms. It looks like a lovely place to live. As Jason Holder continues this one just outside the leg stump of Dean Elgar, and it strays down. It strays, and Joshua De Silva picks it up. It's a dot. Sort of delivery that would be a leg side wide in the one-day game.
Yeah, beautiful lush island, typical tropical island views. Does look like you could live the good life there.
And manual manned scoreboard at the ground as well, which is also quite nice and nostalgic alongside those slow outfields. As finally we get some runs in this partnership. This one's a short delivery on the hips of Dean Elgar. He just plays it off his hips as it goes into the onside, and they'll run through for 2. So South Africa now 39 for 3. Dean Elgar's on to 18.
I'm glad you mentioned the scoreboard, Chris. I absolutely love it. Those old manual scoreboards, great to see.
At least none of the South African grounds that I've been to still have the manual scoreboards. All electronic now. Although you do see the occasional electronic scoreboard that's set up to look like it's still a manual scoreboard. There's one of those in the UK. This delivery on the stumps of Dean Elgar, and again, he plays it into the onside, but this time it'll be just a single. And Kyle Verreynne will have to face Jason Holder for the first time in his innings.
Even Willamore Park in Benoni, which I think held out one of the longest with their non-electronic scoreboard, has now gone completely digital.
I wonder, you definitely could at least raise some money for the club auctioning off parts of those old scoreboards. I imagine a lot of people would spend at least a little bit of money to have some of the old numbers. I think a lot of players end up, you can keep your name after a match or a series, which I think is quite enough reason to play international cricket by itself, just having a massive plaque with your name on it, which you can set up in your TV room or your pub. This delivery into Verreynne left alone, and it's through to Joshua De Silva for a dot.
Yeah, and I think it might be Adelaide, actually, in Australia, where they've got one of the more famous manual scoreboards as well, and I think they do still run it. It's just incredible all the information that they cram onto that scoreboard, and the best thing about it is that there's never an advertising break on the scoreboard where you can't see what you're looking for.
Right. Jason Holder's penultimate delivery, swinging away from Kyle Verreynne. He gets a very thick outside edge, which just makes it to the man at point. And that's a knot. That's a dot.
So 11 balls Kyle Verreynne has faced without getting off the market, and just keep your composure, young man. He just needs to bide his time here.
Just trying to look at all the manual scoreboards around the world. This one is defended up the crease by Kyle Verreynne. Jason Holder's overs over, and he's finally conceded some runs. That over's gone for 3, so in his 4 overs, just the 3 runs, and then of course the 3 maidens before that.
Yeah, Newlands, in keeping with the beautiful surrounds, also had a very nice manual scoreboard back in the day.
Yeah, if you search for the scoreboards, they'll show you some old photos. So it's the WACA might still have one, but they don't really play cricket at the WACA anymore. They played at the Optus, the new Perth Stadium. I think they played a couple of women's games at the WACA recently, but for the most part, I think they play them out of the Optus now. As Shannon Gabriel's back into the attack, he's taken that 1 wicket of Aidan Markram, conceded 9 runs in his 4 overs. And coming back from injury, let's see after his first spell if he can get a lot of movement like every other bowler has. This one doesn't move too much. It's just a foolish delivery on the stumps of Dean Elgar, defended to the man at mid-on. And that's another dot ball. So he's bowling right arm over into the left-handed Dean Elgar. And they might be talking about the sponsors because we're getting a real close-up either of the sponsors' sandals or just of Shannon Gabriel's nipples. I don't know what they're focusing on there. But it is sandals, as they've cut to an ad for sandals who it looks like make all the West Indian kits. At one point, one of the West Indian sponsors was rum. I think Dappy rum. This one, bit of a loose delivery from Shannon Gabriel. No reason for Dean Elgar to play at that. And it goes through for another dot. Very wide, quite short.
Yeah, one wonders to what extent the West Indies might have rushed Shannon Gabriel back a bit from injury. And given how poorly they batted in the first test, I must say I was a little bit surprised that the experienced Darren Bravo wasn't brought in as well.
Yeah, suddenly made available, but not playing. And I think one of the other men in the squad, if you did need a seam option, I guess Alzari Joseph is not in favour. He looked like a very dangerous bowler when he first came onto the international scene, and I think had a very good IPL in his first IPL season, but hasn't quite improved at the rate that they would have expected. This one's defended by Dean Elgar. He falls over a little bit. Shannon Gabriel's grinning at the umpire, but it's another dot in the end. It's actually the rum that they used to be sponsored by, or may still be sponsored by, is the Duppy Share rum. Beautiful bottles. Shannon Gabriel continues in his 5th over, right arm over into the left-handed Dean Elgar. This one, Elgar gets on the back foot, has a bit of a punch at it, but doesn't get anything on it. It goes through to Joshua Da Silva. Yeah, looking dangerous. Still, Dean Elgar's on 19 of 65. I guess this is what Test cricket's about, is what happens on those chances. It can make a big difference, but so far everything's gone Dean Elgar's way, and he's still out there.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. He's been there 64 balls before that delivery. He probably thought I'm kind of in now, probably felt confident having a go at that back of the length delivery, just trying to drive it through the offside. But a bit of extra bounce, and he nearly got himself into trouble there.
And he, again, commenting on facial expressions, he definitely acknowledged that one. He had a face like, maybe I shouldn't have played that shot.
Yeah, it's like Dean Elgar really has been wrestling with himself in this innings. He knows he shouldn't be playing at certain balls, but he just can't help himself sometimes.
That's something, yeah, Joshua Da Silva is talking about, the different challenges of white ball and red ball. And the biggest challenge in red ball is sort of controlling yourself and knowing the shots not to play. Penultimate delivery of this 5th over, just a foolish delivery left alone by Dean Elgar. He's still on 19, South Africa's still on 40. And Shannon Gabriel had an expression like, there's no point in me bowling that if nothing happens. He had a face like it was a waste of a delivery.
For a game that relies so much on muscle memory, it must be incredibly hard to switch mindsets from white ball cricket, where you're so used to going for everything and being positive and batting with intent, to red ball cricket, where just leaving the ball is so absolutely vital as well.
Yeah, maybe the white ball almost serves as therapy, just a release for that aggression and the want to play shots. And then you can come back to red ball and have to maintain your composure. Final delivery from Jan and Gabriel, right arm over to Dean Elgie. He defends this, and a bit of confusion there as they waited for the fielder to miss it, as they're both just out of their creases, but in the end, they go through for 2. And so Kyle Verheyen will face the first delivery of the next over. South Africa move on to 42 for 3. According to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, that's the meaning of life, the universe, and everything. 42 for 3. That's just cricket.
Well, it seems like a good time for me to sign off now that the Proteas have discovered the meaning of life and cricket and everything on 42 for 3. Thank you, Chris, and hopefully things will start getting better for the Proteas now through the rest of this first day.
Cool. I think we have a few more overs. I'm happy to do them by myself. It looks like it's going to extend a little bit longer as Jason Holder's continuing here.
Oh, my apologies. I thought there were other people waiting in the background to take over. Certainly wouldn't want to leave you on your own, Chris.
Oh, it's definitely happened before, whether it's just no one's willing to do it or internet connections are faulty. It means I talk twice as much rubbish. It's just whatever I think I say out loud, and I go through scorecards a lot. As the first delivery from Jason Holder is just played into the covers, and Kyle Verheyen gets off the mark. He's now 1 off 13. And Dean Elgar will have to continue. He's on 21 off 67 deliveries. South Africa 43 for 3.
No, it's always entertaining being on there with you, Chris. I'll hang around until we do have some replacements for us.
I don't think we're worrying about replacements. I think we're just taking it to lunch. Full delivery from Jason Holder, just defended by Kyle Verheyen. It goes to the man at mid-on, and there's no run. We got more visuals of what we saw in the first match, just people up on the hills. This time, one of them looks a lot more prepared. He's got earphones in and an umbrella over his head. That looks like a good way to watch the cricket, get a bit of commentary there, and also a bit of protection from the sun.
Well, I hope he's listening to Guerilla Cricket. And, of course, he doesn't have to worry about being vaccinated or wearing a mask or anything like that.
Third delivery, just defended up the crease. Yeah, so I think we're going to be here for a little bit longer. It's going to go for another, 12:28 local time. So I think that's another 11 minutes for us. So a few more overs as we see visuals of someone actually in the stadium now, enjoying the cricket. He's not on his cell phone. Couple of spectators not on their cell phones, actually watching and enjoying the cricket. Jason Holder will continue here. He's bowling now around the wicket into Dean Elgar. He's changed his line of attack, and this one's left alone. Nathan Lehman recently released a book, which I haven't read, but I've heard him talk about the fact that it definitely is an advantage, at least based on the data of all test deliveries, since they've been tracking ball by ball, to bowl around the wicket to the left-hander if you're a right-handed bowler. But it's taken a while for a lot of bowlers to change that mindset and actually go around a bit more often.
I was just thinking it's interesting that Holder changed because he has really been giving Elgar a tough time from over the wicket, angling it across him. But I've been already settling into a really testing line, and then from around the wicket as well, testing Elgar just around that off stump.
And Elgar just plays this one off his hips, and so Kyle Verheyen will face the final delivery of this over as they go through for a single. Yeah, it's very interesting I guess we call it left-handed batting. It's more than just the left-handed population do bat like that. But I guess if you're left-handed, you're more likely to pick it up like that. But it's like in a lot of sports, it's a big advantage to play left-handed compared to right-handed, just because people coming up through the age groups aren't used to playing against left-handed players. As this one, I expected more of an appeal, to be honest. It hits the pads or possibly the bat and then the pads or possibly just the bat of Kyle Verreynne. And it was online for the wickets, but yeah, no real appeal there. We'll see a slow-mo replay at some stage.
I was also expecting more of a big shot there.
But yeah, I'm watching on a low-resolution stream and also have no audio. So a couple of sensors impaired there as I can't pick up all the clues. But the takeaway is Kyle Verreynne survives. He's on 1 of 14. Dean Elgar's on 22 off 71. And South Africa are 44 for 3. And Cricinfo agreeing with our WhatsApp group that 10 minutes left, as I think Shannon Gabriel is going to take over the bowling duties. Well, continue with his bowling. He's got the 1 wicket of Aiden Markram for 11 runs in his 5 overs. I can look through. Otto Simon says that I just reminded him and his wife that they do have some rum. I've only recently had rum and ginger ale together, and that is a winning combination. As Shannon Gabriel's bowling right arm over into the left-handed Dean Elgar. This one just hits him in the mid-rift, or I think he gets some bat to it last minute and defends it up the crease, but he's jumping around a little bit there.
Friday night, Otto, I think you should get stuck in there. Make like you're in the Caribbean.
Anis Mohammed says, we'll take the sandal sponsors over the tea sponsors during the Pakistan series. And Sepultai asking about the heats and noughts and crosses games. I did enjoy the uniqueness of the Pakistani adverts. And we've seen a very similar thing in the PSL. I've only watched a little bit of the PSL, but also strange ways of advertising things there that cut a few times to the commentators very intentionally drinking tea as well. This one from Shannon Gabriel is a foolish delivery, just defended up the wicket to the bowler for no run. Grant Elliott and JP Duminy both doing some commentary there. South African representation in JP Duminy, and then Grant Elliott still sounds very, very South African with just a hint of New Zealander in his accent.
Speaking of JP Duminy, I think it's very big news that he's just been announced as the new batting coach for the Gauteng cricket team, which must thrill all their supporters tremendously. It seems a really good coup for the Central Gauteng Lions.
A bit of a poaching job there. But you don't you hear JP Duminy, and the Lions definitely aren't the first team you think of. As this one, Dean Elgar has a bit of a flash at, but good for him, I guess. He doesn't get anywhere near it as it goes through to the wicketkeeper for no run. 140 kilometers an hour there from Shannon Gabriel. So that is what he brings to the side. That's not something we've seen from the other bowlers, really, is that just raw pace, which I think we got a lot of from the South Africans in the first match and could be the difference maker.
Yeah, Gabriel, a really big, broad-shouldered, powerful man. It's just raw power. One feels behind that pace. It's not the most fluent of bowling actions, but he certainly gets it through.
Yeah, just the brute power. I mean, he's got some of the bigger arms you can see. Often you don't find fast bowlers spend too much time in the gym because you can sort of limit your flexibility. Shah Bakhtar, I think, was a very big fast bowler, but for the most part, it's sort of lean, sinewy muscle that you see on the fast bowlers, as this one's left alone as well.
Yeah, cricket kind of went through a phase where the strength and conditioning guys were encouraging their bowlers to lift weights and get into the gym. And I think there's been a bit of a counter push against that now because exactly as you mentioned, you need your fast bowlers to be flexible and light. And I guess the fast twitch fibers are more important than the ones that, give you muscular strength and that sort of thing. And a lot of people just say the best training for fast bowlers is to bowl.
There's stories on flexibility of Alan Donald being able to reach 20 centimeters past his toes, which either he has incredibly long arms or more likely, I think, was just very flexible in his peak.
Yeah, definitely. I think flexibility would be something that any wannabe fast bowler would want to work on as a priority, um, more than developing muscle, I would think.
This one from Shannon Gabriel, just left alone outside off stump. I don't know if you want to have a look at the tweets, or I can keep trying to cover them quickly. We've got some of the usual suspects, some of our commentators, and then, of course, Anis Mohammed as well.
Well, they are talking rum, and Otto is threatening to dip into the rum deposits while he's on air with Chepa. So that will be very exciting indeed, I think.
That's something we can do at some stage when we're feeling especially reckless, is link a drinking game to the cricket, as the final delivery of Shannon Gabriel's over is another dot, and so he finishes with a maiden. South Africa 44 for 3.
I feel sorry for the person who has to drink after every dot ball then.
Yeah, in this game that would be pretty dangerous. I've only played a drinking game once based on cricket, and that was when South Africa played England in that World T20 in 2016. And the rules we set meant that in 3 hours we drank way more than we should have, because I think that was sort of a 220 plays 220 T20 match. And yeah, that was, although I was drinking a lot at that stage because it was first year of university, I wasn't quite prepared. Where I think between the two of us, it was just me and one friend. We had a bottle of vodka and 6 beers each over 3 hours. And I was happy to go to bed after that. But he went to wine club. So respect to him. I could not keep up on that occasion.
Oh. That's a great effort. I seem to remember needing a drink after that game. Rather a sad result for the Proteas.
As we see spin into the bowling attack now, Roston Chase, maybe they're trying to squeeze in a couple of extra overs before we go to the lunch break. Yeah, Roston Chase, no Rakeem Cornwall, at least in the plain 11, and so we'll have to see how much there is in this pitch for the spinners. I would guess a little bit. It's that cliche that if it seems, it spins, and this first delivery does turn a fair bit for an off spinner or a finger spinner. The right arm finger spin, off spin from Roston Chase into Kyle Verreynne. Pitches just outside off, turns in to middle and is played into the onside for a dot.
Yeah, there was a little bit of turn on offer in the first test, but nothing too alarming.
This one, foolish. Kyle Verreynne looks very competent, just driving that into the covers, and that's another dot. Good flight there from Roston Chase. The first delivery was a little flat and a little short for a spinner, but that one quite well flighted. He comes in again, right arm over. Oof. Looks like an inside edge. Either way, it would have been impact outside, and no way that's going onto the stumps.
Pretty tall man, Roston Chase, so he will get some good bounce from this pitch.
Yeah, but not tall by some West Indian spin standards. I guess Rakeem Cornwall is quite a bit bigger than him, and then Suleiman Ben was just about the tallest spinner I can think of, as this one's driven to the man at mid-on for a dot.
Roger Harper, the West Indies' current convener of selectors, was a spinner as well, and also a very tall man.
And then I guess they have had shorter spinners as well. I think of Narayan and Badri, two of the best T20 spinners, and played a few tests each. This one defended up the pitch by Kyle Verreynne for a dot. Cole Hooper was also quite tall, wasn't he? But not quite as tall as the likes of Ben or Rakeem Cornwall.
Yeah, just should see if we'll get another over. As no, the bows are coming off, and that will be lunch.
Cool. But yeah, finally the end of that. Obviously extended a little bit because of the rain that we experienced, but overall definitely the West Indies session. But a bit of consolidation at the end by Elgar and Verreynne. If I just go through the scorecard quickly, the West Indies again, just like the first match, won the toss, but this time changed their plan of attack and chose to bowl. They only made the one change. They had Shannon Gabriel in for Rakeem Cornwall. South Africa playing exactly the same 11 as they did in the first match, with Temba Bavuma out again, but this time with a different injury. We saw Aidan Markram go very early to the bowling of Gabriel, a bit of a loose shot, which was caught in the covers. And he was dismissed for a duck. Then Keegan Peterson, the man in the second match, man, is 7 off 25 before he was caught in the slips by Jason Holder off the bowling of Jaden Seals. Then Rassie van der Dussen just left one alone, shouldered arms, and was bowled by a lovely in-swinging delivery from Kemar Roach. So South Africa find themselves 44 for 3 with Dean Elgar there on 22 and Kyle Verreynne there on 1. Thank you very much, Ken. That was enjoyable commentating with you. I don't know if we're commentating again together today, but I'm sure we'll have another session together at some stage during this test.
I'm sure you will, Chris. Yes, thank you very much. Always entertaining being on air with you, and I think the Proteas will be relieved to an extent that they're going to lunch just 3 down after the last 2 wickets, practically inside the first 10 overs.